I just want everyone to realize that it also is reflecting back a more comprehensive energy that allows us to heal on a physical level. That's why awakening matters. It's becoming aware instead of having to spend our lives trying to get well. We're walking around in a combination of conscious energy flowing and unconscious energy flowing. Hello, and welcome to the Art of Awakening podcast, another session of this with you. I'm so looking forward to. I am your host, Dr. Sue Morter, and today we have a remarkable guest with us who has transformed countless lives through her work, and I can't wait to bring her forward to you. Her name is Marie Diamond, and she's a transformational leader, and what I know about her is she is an amazing individual who is deeply sincere with her feet in the soil, and yet she has a great awakened mind that is here in service to humanity. And so I'm thrilled to be bringing her forward to you. She is a creator. She is an executive producer of the TV show Feng Shui Your Life, and the best-selling author. She is the founder of the Diamond Feng Shui company, and combining her extensive knowledge with quantum physics, the law of attraction, and Feng Shui in order to help people completely transform their lives. So Marie has made it her mission to enlighten 500 million people across the world. Now, that's a big, lofty goal, and I know that she's capable of doing it. So today we're going to be speaking into how to create lasting transformation through activating the secret manifesting power of your home and welcoming more abundance into your life. So I know that everyone is going to be able to relate to this and is going to be very happy to hear what we can do in our own home to truly support our own awakening process. So please welcome Marie Diamond. Marie, welcome. Yay.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. Wonderful to be with you, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, it is a great joy. It's so good to see you again. You know, we get together a couple times a year in the Transformational Leadership Council meetings, and every once in a while we might be speaking at a conference together or just kind of cross paths in this way. But I just want everyone to know how much I really appreciate who you are. There are many teachers and speakers out there in the world of personal development and spiritual development. And every once in a while, I come across someone who I know is deeply sincere, really actually walking their talk and living it on a very deep and spiritual level. And that is you. That you are definitely part of that crowd, and that's why I invited you on to the podcast. And so, you know, I'd love for us to speak into a little bit about your background regarding the fundamental principles of the laws of attraction. I know that you were in the movie The Secret, and you've been speaking about these concepts for a long time. I have some ideas about the laws of attraction that I speak about too, but I'd love for our audience just to kind of get in tune with where you're coming from and some of those ideas. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to share about
Yes.
that?
Yes. First of all, I want to go back to when I was like 15 years old, and I had a near-death experience. At 15, I was run over by a truck. And when I went through the whole healing process, I connect with my spiritual master that I already had at that time since I was 7. And I asked him, why did that happen? Why did I do something wrong, right, to attract this experience? And he just answered with 3 words. He said, you have bad feng shui. And I was like, what does that mean, right? I'm from a Catholic country, Belgium at that time, Catholic family. So we are following, Jesus and the saints and angels and going to the church. But feng shui is like totally off my radar. And he was telling me that it was a place where I was sleeping was really affecting me negatively. And it was interesting because since I moved into that bedroom, I was bullied at school. I had no friends. I was sick all the time. And also I attracted actually several accidents, and one of them was almost deadly. And so it was interesting because at that time I was on the other side. I had really an experience of awakening in the sense of when I was there were beings of light, and one of the beings said, you have to go back because you're here to enlighten more than 500 million people. And that's where this sentence comes from. And so I had no idea, of course, what that meant. And I would pray for it and ask every day, show me how, what do I need to do to fulfill that, prophecy or fulfill
Mhm.
that statement.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you have to start with yourself, right? And so the first thing I did, I changed bedrooms, and with the indications I was given by my spiritual master, I would change things around me. So before that were all images of people connected with my sister, because my sister slept in that bedroom too. And now I created my own space, my own sacred space, and with the colors I loved and the images that really inspired me. And my life turned around. I mean, literally, I started healing very fast. I had the bullies stop bullying me. It was like I suddenly had all these opportunities coming into my life. And so I knew that something really immediately shifted. And that's when the first time I started understanding that the law of attraction, as I understood later on, has three parts of the law of attraction. And the first part, as my grandmaster in Feng Shui shared with me, was it's our spiritual part. Like our soul comes into this planet, it has created some karma and dharma that it brings in, and we go through a process of learning the soul lessons. And some people would say, well, that's 100% of your results of life. He said there's only 30.3% that focuses on that. If we do our spiritual practices, if we clear our karma, if we heal our ancient wounds of our personal past lives or our ancestral lives, we will actually create results. The second part, he said, is called the human luck. And the human luck is, what do we do with the gifts that were given to us? What were we doing with our human potential? That's why self-help, self-development comes in, where we try to create a positive mindset. We do the right things. We're having the right behavior. We take the positive actions in our life. And I would say self-help development will actually focus on that. Some people say that's everything you need to do, but it's actually only, according to Feng Shui, 1/3 of your results. And the last part is the last part that I experienced at 15 already, where I was already doing my meditations. I was already trying to be the best human being I could be at 15. But I had an environment that was really not supporting me and aligning me with my goals and aligning me with my purpose. And so that is the last part, is the earth luck. And that is the missing link that I would say Feng Shui and dowsing and things connected with that were already for thousands of years practiced in China and Asia, that the Western world only got to know like in the 70s and the 80s of the last century, that they already knew how energy is moving forward also in your environment. So I started practicing it, I started studying it, I became a master practitioner. Then that later on I was accepted as a master in that field, to understand that everything around you is a subconscious message to your soul, is a subconscious message to who you want to be. And so there's an energy system compared like with acupuncture in a way. Like acupuncture works with the elements, works with the chi, with the flow, but your home is also a place that we can activate to create more awakening, to awaken ourselves. And that was my process to reach awakening, and also to attract and being able to reach the 500 million people that just with the secret alone we were able to do.
Fantastic. So I talk a lot about the quantum field, and that we are the face of the quantum field, that we are truly drawing forward from this unified field of consciousness and pressing ourselves into this dimension, and that we operate through this series of flowing streams of energy that generate this toric field. So there's this energy field around the body, and there are distortions in the field that have been generated by subconscious, unresolved emotional states and dispositions and such. And so what we're walking around inside of the energy field that we are is a combination of conscious energy flowing and unconscious energy flowing. And this is what you're speaking about, another layer out in terms of our environment in our home, that there are energies that are able to flow because of the placement of certain things in certain positions, which I'm sure you're going to get into. I love to explore that. And then there are also unconscious energies that are blocked or not flowing as easily as they could, simply because of how we're living inside of our home and how we're arranging things around us. So it's sort of a holographic universe. And what you're describing is this larger, expanded version of the very thing that I speak about with my community all the time. So I think they're going to eat this up in terms of really aligning with what you have to say, because we're very aware inside of this conversation that part of us is awake and part of us is not yet awake, and we are awakening those parts that are subconscious, and we're wanting to bring them up to a conscious level so that we can be truly masterful in our life experience. And so what you're sharing is how we can place objects or position things around us and particular types of things around us to enhance that energetic nest, basically, that we are nurturing ourselves on the inside of. Yes? Am I tracking along with you?
Yeah, it is true. And so I always call Feng Shui the quantum physics of your environment. Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is also not just us, but we have a reflection of who we are, awakened and not awakened. We reflect that in our environment, reflect it in our actions, but also reflect that in your home. So it's like we're mirroring it out, right, into the people we attract, but also in the homes that we attract and how we set our things up around us. And so,
Yeah.
if somebody feels very lack of self-esteem, for example, what they will do most of the time, they will put their desk against the wall, because that is a position that people with lack of self-esteem will always focus on, because they are literally not being seen in the world. So the first thing I always say to connecting with the quantum field, you need to see the space. Yeah. So turn yourself around, have your back supported by something behind you, and see into the space. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we call the power position. But it actually means it's an access portal to the quantum field, because as you are awake, your whole body, your eyes, your senses need to connect in with the space around you. When you're asleep in Feng Shui, we know our subconscious mind is work, our awakened state is not there. In the sense of a conscious level, but we then want to make sure that our crown chakra is connected in with a certain energy, and subconsciously we're still picking up everything that's around us. And that's why I talk about that your home is a vision board, and that's my newest book, where I talk about that, everything around you, or it has been blocking you, what you want to awaken, or it can support you and align you in what you want to awake. So that is actually where we're focusing on. And, let's be honest, clearing everything and healing things, it's a long process sometimes, right? But if our home could be supporting that process of healing, yeah, if whatever we see around us is aligning with what we want out of life, what we desire our outcome to be, then this is a supportive element, because on the subconscious level, we get energetically activated. And it's just not only general things, but it's very personal. And so I talk about in the home as a vision board, then when your soul came in from the fifth dimensional field or the quantum field into the third dimensional field, that your soul came in and was connecting it with certain directions of where chi is flowing good for you. And so there are certain directions, wind directions, that your energy is not flowing so well. So people can find that out, of course, through my book, but also through my free app. They just put in Mary Diamond on the App Store, and it actually gives you a request to put in your birth date of your birth, so full date, month, and year, and also your birth gender, because it's connected with your original DNA system. And so it creates a calculation which is different than numerology, by the way. It has a whole mathematical formula, and they will get a number between 1 and 9. And so when they are looking at a number, they will see then they will get a special compass that will be indicated for them. So I'm kind of showing the compass right now. This is my compass. Yeah.
Ah.
So based on my energy field, how do I access the quantum field the easiest? So for me, for success, the access portal to the quantum field is southwest. For relationship, it's west, and for health is northwest, and wisdom, like spirituality, is northeast. For somebody else, it's different. So one of the things we do is facing that direction. You will actually, in a three-dimensional field, you will have an easier, it's like the portal to the quantum field is easier opened up. So it's almost like your internet is on, the ethernet is on, right? So when you face that direction. So right now I'm in a home of a friend in Hawaii, but I'm actually facing west because as I'm facing west, my portal to the universe for relationships, to talk to somebody, to communicate with you, Dr. Sue, and to all your listeners and viewers, the flow is the easiest for me. So
Mm.
it's not just having these directions that you can look at, like for health, if I do health practices, I will face another direction because it's an easier access. We call that the chi is with you. The connection, the alignment is easier. So it's a very
Mm.
personal experience.
Mm. How much of that do you find that you can sense and feel within yourself without pulling out, looking at, and aligning and finding out where is north and orienting yourself? As you've worked with this over the years and familiarized yourself with how it feels when you are facing west and can, be in that flow of communication, for example, do you feel things in your own system that tell you, yes, this is it, this is what's right for me? Or
Yeah.
is it something that really needs to be facilitated from the outside in? What's your experience of that?
Well, one of the things is like now I know my directions. It's like my body has become my compass, right?
Yeah.
So I really know like I go there and like suddenly I feel clear, I feel focused. Um, what we have seen, and we have done some tests about it, is when people face the right directions, they have right away an easier access to alpha and theta brainwaves. When they
Mm-hmm.
face directions that are empty on their compass, so when they go to the compass, they will see there are some empty areas where the chi is not flowing. They immediately feel like the energy is closing down, so they are more into beta brainwaves. I feel the shift very much from having the energy to the back of my head, like where the reptilian brain energy is, to the frontal cortex. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel right away like this little shift in my body. And so most people experience that once they start getting there, like their energy is open. And I
Mm-hmm.
always say it's like you're getting a spike of optimism, a spike of higher vibration, right? When they face the right direction. And sometimes people do that naturally. They're very in tune with their body. And I've seen many times with very successful people, I would come into their office or their place, and there would be like, yeah, they put their desk in a direction that's kind of strange from an aesthetic perspective. And they're like, but they're perfectly in the right angle, right? It's the angle of chi that is stronger for them. And so, but then I see people that are really struggling and they are, perhaps life has not given them the right connection with their energy and the high vibration. And they're off, their compass, their inner compass is off, and they put themselves in the wrong direction all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an interesting question you asked me. I do feel that some people really set things up correctly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always improvement. Sometimes they set themselves correctly for success and money, but then their relationship energy is off because it's probably that they're still working a lot on this healing that part of themselves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that on that level, things are done off in their quantum field of their home.
And so, if someone was trying to work on a particular area of their life, how does what you're describing apply? Like if they want to work on relationships or they want to work on a financial situation, specifically one or the other of these topics, when they pick up and look at their compass, what does the direction do to serve them in those specific topics? Like in relationship, for let's say someone's having a relationship issue. What
Okay.
does the information serve them? How do they apply what they now know because of what you're providing for them?
So the first thing I always want them to take on is to understand what is their relationship direction. So they look at the compass and
Mm-hmm.
then they hold the compass in the center of the space that they want to focus on. Let's say the bedroom, right? Bedroom is about romantic love.
Mm-hmm.
The living room is about family and friends. And your office space is about your clients and your team.
Mm-hmm.
So they hold the compass in the center and they indicate where is the direction of their relationship. So what is in that corner or what in that area of relationship, they literally has been reflecting out what they have been so far. So if they're single, they probably unconsciously have put a picture of somebody who's single out there, or a lonely vase, or an image of a dolphin, or something like something that is by themselves. And so they reflected that out, or they have a chaotic love life and they create a lot of clutter in that corner. So, what they have been, they always reflected out. And I always
Mm-hmm.
say, but you can reflect it back in. So, what you can do then is redesign that area. If you want love life, you put a picture perhaps of you and your partner if you have one. If you don't have that, you put like two hearts or something symbolically that shows for you inspiration to awaken to that love life that you desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the living room, you will focus then on your friends and family. Is in your office, like in my office, I have my team picture there. I have a globe there because I have students in 190 countries. So there's like a symbol for me that I focus on seeing humanity also. It can be a picture of me and some high-end clients I'm working with. So something that inspires you, right? That is a vision board energy. So you reflect out and you see what is wrong, declutter it, take away what is not that relationship energy you desire, and then put things in place. And even if you never look at it, it is creating an acupuncture activation of your space. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're saying to the universe, that quantum energy, that quantum direction for me is open and it's activated with the right images and statues or crystals or whatever you like to put in there. And based on the energy number, there are several things you can place somewhere to just activate that. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
same with success. You look at your success direction. And in my success direction, I have all my books, all my awards, I have my vision board. But for example, in a relationship direction, I have an image, always the latest photo of our Transformation Leadership Council that I put out there because these are my friends and my colleagues. So I update the pictures always. And in my success direction, I put there the things, my books with my journal, with my goals, like anything that symbolizes that for me, speaks to me, not to somebody else, but speaks to me to activate that energy. And because of doing that, you're actually reflecting in, again, from the quantum field, you're activating the vibration of what you ultimately from your soul really desire. And you let your home support you and align you and help you with your awakening instead of blocking and stopping you from awakening as you should.
Mm, beautiful. One of the things that I'm always focusing on is allowing our physical body to be a part of our ability to manifest in our lives. Basically, that if there is a continuum of energy flowing from the unified field into a funnel, into a channel that pours to the earth and rises up and cycles around in this toric field sort of fashion. And we build a physical body right inside of that. And so if there are distortions or contractions inside the body, it doesn't allow that energy to flow through us and out into our world. So we walk around in a world that is now distorted or has the vibrational frequency of lack in it because of how we're not allowing energy to flow through our own body. And that's what you're describing to do in our home as well. One of the things that I love to do is to get people realizing that they're not just a human being, they're not just a physical body walking around in this skin and bones suit, that they're actually pure consciousness, and that we have a much larger presence than our physical body really can contain. That the energy field around us, around the physical body, that is the true self, extends in 30 feet in either direction, 60 feet above and below on just a neutral thought. That's what's happening. And so I like that what you're doing is causing people to think about how they are in their space, and what it's actually doing is reflecting back to the physical body ways that they can enliven and enhance the energies that are flowing through themselves. So even though, Feng Shui oftentimes has a conversation about how to manifest and how to get your partner and how to change, your life in external ways, I just want everyone to realize that it also is reflecting back a more comprehensive energy that allows us to heal on a physical level deep within as well. That those energies are now reflecting back to us in a more harmonious way, and it allows our own system to be supported physically from a healing standpoint within. And the bigness of our being is now being supported by what we're doing in our home to arrange and allow these energies to flow more readily through the home, which then allows them to flow more readily through our bodies as well. So it's pretty fascinating. I'm going to go back to something you were talking about earlier, and that is looking at the compass and then arranging things accordingly. And then we were talking about, do you ever feel that you kind of can tell when you're in that alignment internally, sort of on your own, because you've been working with these types of things? Here's another question along those lines. When I'm liking the idea that someone could use your compass and align in a certain way and then start paying attention to how they feel in their body when they are in that proper alignment, where they can communicate more easily, or they can attract that relationship or feel more abundant and manifest more easily, that they could memorize how it feels in their body when they are in that proper alignment based upon the compass that you're providing, and memorize those sensations in the body so that they are generating those sensations even when they have to be in an environment that isn't as supportive as what the compass would say would be ideal for them. For instance, they're staying at someone else's home that isn't arranged in the way that's in support of their particular template, but yet they've memorized the sensations in the body that would be happening energetically if they were in the environment that was perfectly supporting them. And they might be able to sustain more of a healing environment and more of an abundant environment and more of a relationship attracting environment, even when they weren't able to be in the exact appropriate physical dynamics that would be supporting it day in, day out. Let's say they're staying with friends for several days or weeks, or they're on the road traveling, and for lots of the month they're not really in the perfect environment. So I'm thinking, wow, the people that I know would be served well by getting your app, getting the compass on there, plugging in and aligning in these ways, and just sort of like a biofeedback sort of system, training themselves to know what it does feel like when I am in that alignment. And when I get to know that, I can carry it around with me, even when I'm not able to be in that alignment. When I'm flying in a plane 30,000 feet above the planet, there's a different set of energies available. But if I know what it feels like when I am aligned, I can recreate that for myself while I'm sitting there, in the airplane. So what do you think about that?
Well, it's one of the things I speak about. So thank you for bringing this up.
Yeah,
I always
great.
say, whenever you have set up your home, that home in the quantum field is your anchor space. Yeah.
Hmm.
So wherever you're traveling, that space, even if you're not there physically, is still connected with you in the
Hmm.
quantum field. And so that's the first thing I always say, so I'm traveling all the time, right? So my home is set up perfectly according to my frequencies that I need to anchor into this world. And of course, I go into a hotel room. I cannot always do a lot of things, right? Because it's what it is. So I can at that moment, and I always say to people, if you cannot do anything in the space you're traveling or you're spending, weeks somewhere else, connect in consciously with that template, as you call it, that is your home. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, because it is already you, right?
Hmm.
In the quantum field, there's no difference if you're there or you're not there,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
energetically there. So tap into it and just, if you cannot place anything, at least you bring that frequency of that anchor place into the space you are and tap into that, yeah, whatever place you are. So from a quantum perspective, that is totally possible. I do say you have to do it every day. You have to every morning tap into it, yeah.
Hmm.
And we also have seen that, and that's some of the things that Feng Shui masters talk about, that if you're 9 weeks gone from the house that you're in,
Hmm.
then that energy is not so strong anymore. So I always say to people, it's good to go back every 9 weeks to go back to your home to vibrate, and reconnect with that anchor point, because our memory is sometimes loses the connection a little bit, yeah, or
Yeah,
inner visualization is not so strong anymore. But it's one of
yeah.
the reasons I say to people, take pictures of your different directions. And if you are longer on a trip, and I know people have been on a trip for a year worldwide, and so they have everything activated, they have pictures with them so they can look at it like, oh, this, if I forgot the feeling, right? Because not everybody is so kinesthetic,
Hmm.
to feel
Right.
it still, to at least have the pictures of it, so that,
Hmm.
oh, this is how I feel when I look at this.
Yeah.
So I do feel people have sometimes a little bit of a reminder needed to keep that vibration going. But if it's just for a couple of days, just, you don't even have to tap into it, it's already tapping into you.
Yeah, yeah, it's there. It's just about bringing your awareness to it so that you
Yeah.
can magnify and enhance it. I know that, but before COVID, I was traveling all the time, and I mean all the time, and I could feel it when there were too many days that I was out and not enough landing, grounding, moments back home. I could start to feel my energy field being affected by it, and I'd have to work harder to stay in my body and stay grounded and integrated in the ways that are so very helpful for us. And now I'm in my home a lot as far as broadcasting. We're broadcasting all over the world, just like you are, and it's a totally different scenario. I'm supported constantly in an ongoing way. Although my schedule is very, very intense, it is because of these alignments that come. They happen to come very naturally for me. I had a friend give me a feng shui for my home gift as a gift, and had a master come in and work with things, and they were kind of scratching their head halfway through it, saying, it's pretty amazing. You've never studied this. What's going on? And it's just I'm very kinesthetic in that way. I can sense and feel the energies, and because I know how important it is, and that's really why I want to teach other people how to build the circuitry to sustain such things. Everything that you're saying is my experience, and I really appreciate that you are going to the extent of creating an app and creating feedback mechanisms for people and guidance templating sorts of instrumentation to allow people to train themselves to align with this energy that is always happening in our favor if we know how to work with it. And so I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing to bring this
Thank you,
forward
Dr.
for people.
Yeah, I think it's so important because I've seen many times people are just not aligned, and these are very easy techniques and practical techniques
Mm,
that people have. And so people use the app all the time whenever they are in any place they are, or they have to have conversations. They know like, hey, I need to be really accessing that alignment, right? To
mm,
be accessing my conscious being. And so there are, in the three-dimensional world, there are some portals that are stronger for me, and people see the shift happening very quickly. And that's why I gave that a free access, because I think people are using it also all the time, but also for meditation. I mean, of course, meditation is connecting with the source and the quantum field, but the way our physical body is facing actually creates higher frequencies. And so in the three-dimensional world, so when people face a certain direction, and in the beginning they need that. After, of course, when you have mastered all this, like you and me have, we don't need that so much anymore, and we have that direct access wherever we are, wherever we're facing, right? But for many people to that are still in that awakening state, they need
mm.
these very practical tools. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes, it's really about awakening to a vibrational version of oneself that is aligned, connected, integrated, and then able to identify as this soulful self, this true essential self. It's a vibrational frequency, and it's really about pulling the mind back onto that and allowing for these frequencies, these energies to become familiar. And as we awaken and become aware of those energies that are the true self, we start living from that place, right? And we know in an instant when we're not. We know when we're thinking in a way that's pulling us off course. We know when we're eating or not exercising or actioning in ways that are just not in that alignment. But what I find is that a lot of people don't know what it feels like to be in the alignment, so they don't really know when they're doing things right away that are leading them out of alignment, and they have to get so far out of alignment before the consequences get big enough that their sensory system can pick up on it, that then it's harder to get back on track. So what I love about what you're doing is you're providing a way for people to become subtly aware of what it feels like when I am in that flow, when it is connecting, when I'm aligning the energies in my world that are in support of my true self, right? And
Yeah.
then I can get to know that, so that whenever I'm operating in a way that creates a different energy inside of my system, I know in an instant.
Correct.
That's why awakening matters, right? It's
Yeah.
becoming aware of the things that can allow us to be proactive instead of having to spend our lives all the time trying to get well, trying to heal, trying to improve things, trying to build a relationship, trying to find abundance. All that is really inherently our destiny. It's our birthright. It's supposed to be happening automatically, but it's a matter of awareness. People aren't aware of how to allow that to happen.
Most people don't get that. And so that's why when your home is a peaceful and harmonious and balanced space, right?
Yeah.
So that they would then, the moment it's not in that alignment in themselves, the home will support them energetically, first of all, to get to that space. But if they go somewhere else and they are in a situation or a conversation and they're like, oh, I'm not in that field, because we can work very hard on ourselves, but if your environment is not helping you and supporting you with that, it's double difficult,
Right.
And I've seen this
Yeah.
with many people. They go to beautiful seminars and beautiful experiences with teachers, and they come home and it doesn't stick. Like the energy, they had this aha, this awakening. They come home and their home is making them fall asleep again,
Mm,
or makes it harder for them to stay awake. And I always say, if your home could be an enlightened space, we don't all have to go to ashrams in India. We don't have to be in the caves of the Himalayas. We can actually create an enlightened space where we are, or a space at least that supports that awakening and enlightenment. Then whatever aha moments, whatever wonderful practices that they have, that home will support that energy. And therefore it will remain longer, and they will be able to go to the next level of
Right.
awakening easier.
Yeah, we can kind of continue the expansion instead of having to reinvent the openings for ourselves day after day, year after year, in
Yeah.
fact. How amazing and how beautiful. Now, you've mentioned your new book. I just want to make sure that we mention it again. I'd love to. Do you have a copy? Yeah, just hold this up here and show us. I wish I had a copy here.
Yes.
Your home is your vision board.
Yeah.
And I just wanted people to be able to recognize the cover if they go to look for it. Um,
Yeah.
so, can you tell just a little bit more about the book?
Yeah, so this is a house published by Hay House. So what I really wanted people to understand is a little bit of how I used it, my own life story in it. And then a lot of people create vision boards, as I'm part of the secret. That's like one of the things that came out of it, that people made vision boards, that they are, first of all, not creating personalized vision boards. And I use the vision board to start up their process of looking at their home, like setting up their goals, looking at the images, the colors, because colors are frequencies. Um, so to then implement it from there into their home based on their personal birthday. I go deeper and deeper into the field of creating a vision board experience in their home. But what it does is to really harness the secret power of manifestation that is present in their home. And so, or the secret power of awakening that is in their home. So
Mhm.
for me, this is like an amazing first book for people to go into my sharing and in my knowledge that I've been sharing for the last 30 years. And I'm very excited for people to read it. It is connected with the app so that people literally can use the app, and it's like having Marie with them in their home to support them.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's there's so much information available to us to help us align and to organize. And sometimes it's hard for people to figure out, how do we weed through it? How do we find something that's going to really land and make a difference, because there is so much information out there. And I really appreciate who you are. I know that for decades you have been assimilating this information, and you've been dropping it into very user-friendly techniques and perspectives and practices for people. And that is what I love to do also. And I know that for me, that was my immediate connection to you years ago, was that I knew that you knew what I knew, and that we knew this thing, and that we wanted to bring it forward for humanity. And it is just such a pleasure to share this space with you. And I
Thank you.
want to thank you so much for being here with us today. Please tell us how people can find you. What are the easiest ways to plug into Marie Diamond?
Well, first of all, they can go to the website mariediamond.com, and I also do every few days tutorials on my Marie Diamond official. That's my Instagram or my YouTube. And of course, there's also the Marie Diamond podcast that they have weekly, a lot of information available for free. And yeah, get my book, Your Home is a Vision Board. I think that's the best way to start, and the free app.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm definitely going to get the book and walk through the house and make sure that I'm up to speed on everything that you're recommending as well. And I so recommend it for everyone who is listening as well. It's always a joy to be with you, Marie, and I know that our listeners have definitely been exposed to some beautiful things today. And thank you again for being here, and we look forward to connecting with you again sometime. I'd love to have you back on the podcast at some point, updating whatever is important for you at that time. All right. So I want to
Thank you so
thank
much.
everyone here for joining us with the Art of Awakening. And remember to subscribe and share this episode with someone that is ready to step into their own greater potential. And until next time, I'm Dr. Sue Morter, and blessings to you all. It's been a great joy today. Bye bye for now.